Hey, I'm Scott Miller. I'm doing the video for the 23rd of April, 2020. This is Sheep Guarding Llama, and welcome to the daily vlog. And welcome to my new subscribers. I got some new people out there. Awesome. Not sure who to. I really want to see comments, right? I want to know who tunes in for this because this is an interesting format that I do, right? Like, this isn't my normal stuff. It doesn't have any exact format. It's mostly just me rambling. So I'm interested to hear from you, the sheeple out there joining the llama vlog. But anyway, so I started off the day pretty normal, and then really quickly Ubuntu 20.04 released, and I'm like, yes, first hour of release, gonna update my desktop. I did, and it died. So that was awful. I mean, no, it was annoying. And of course, I do a good job. All my files are easy to move or back up and replace, all that stuff. So not a huge deal, just inconvenient. So tried a couple of things, got Ubuntu onto a USB stick, and that didn't work. So I switched to working to my Raspberry Pi setup, which is right behind me, just stood there, and had to rebuild the machine that I'm sitting at. And just had to move everything off and do a complete wipe and rebuild with Ubuntu 20.04, did a fresh build, and that's fine. So that took a bit of the day, but not a big deal. I'm back up and running. I was back up and running by probably late afternoon. All my files are back and everything, so whatever. It's fine. But so that took a bit of my day. I spent a lot of the day on the phone, common. Worked all day, did a bit of work with Open Lightspeed, testing that out for some projects. Did a couple hours of working with Jeremy this evening. Dinner tonight, we did fish and chips that with real cod. Paul has mastered that. I mean, he's been doing really good French fries for a long time, but now doing full British style fish and chips, amazing. We did that and watched some travel shows last night. And that was really it. Some Parks and Rec, and mostly a pretty quiet day overall. Big news, Texas is going to be reopening, we think, on Monday. Georgia's reopening tomorrow. We found out today that New York has done the math from sampling and figured out that they have 2.71 million currently or have been infected with coronavirus and are either still alive or have survived. Right, not including the dead. 2.71 million living people have or have had coronavirus, which is just a smidgen higher than the number that the WHO is claiming as the world total. So it shows just how far off. Now, no one is saying that there's great testing going on worldwide, but it is very important that people understand that it's the numbers they're reporting have no reflection in any way whatsoever on the totals. It is just the number tested. So it doesn't compare country to country. It doesn't give us an idea of how many people around the world have it. It really tells us essentially nothing, right? Now, the number of people who've died maybe tells us something, but even New York, who is now the only place to be doing any kind of real numbers, as far as we can tell, because their numbers are so much bigger. So unless people are matching that, pretty much your number is probably fake. They have admitted they have no idea how many people have died from it because they don't have any way to test for that. There's just so many. And so chances are there's no numbers we're getting from anywhere in the world that are actually meaningful. At least we know now in a relatively small area just how bad the infections are. So it gives us some idea of just how meaningless what the WHO has been telling us is, right? Telling us what the tested numbers are, it doesn't mean a single thing. Useless. So why even say it when the numbers are just being used to make the whole thing look like it isn't really a problem? And this is one of the very, very few cases where I agree with Trump that defunding the WHO, just the numbers they're putting out there, absolutely, right? Everything's political with the WHO. They're not doing anything to help anybody with healthcare, and the money could certainly be used in better places, like in healthcare, rather than funding the WHO that is actively working against healthcare worldwide. So but it's really interesting just how big the numbers are in New York. Also interesting tonight, our president, having fallen for the Tide Pod pranks, actually recommended that people start looking into. I don't think he actually said to do it. He said it was something that needed to be investigated, because it seemed like a good idea to start injecting people with disinfectants and household cleaners like Tide Pods are, except obviously you wouldn't inject them, you eat them. But they're now joking that he's the Tide Pod president for good reason, because that was the big joke of getting all, like, it was a practical joke this past year. It was this famous thing. They got millennials to actually ingest Tide Pods because, like, you put anything on YouTube and people are going to do it in droves. They used to get people to eat cinnamon off a spoon, which can kill you, but normally it's just really uncomfortable. Obviously, eating Tide Pods, crazy dangerous. And then Trump took it to the next level, thinking that Tide Pods apparently were good food. So if they're good to ingest, then obviously just shooting up with some Clorox must be the thing to do. To the point where, like, Lysol had to come out and make a statement that they were not to be ingested, and there was no safe way to do anything like that. This is the country we live in, right? I can't even begin to figure out what's crazier, that somebody thought eating Tide Pods was a funny joke, that a whole bunch of millennials actually ate it thinking that that would be an interesting thing to do, that the president fell for that and then translated it into, this is something we should do as a medical procedure. Like, the insanity is so high. It's the craziest thing. Like, what a time we live in. Coronavirus isn't even the interesting thing going on. So anyway, that's my Thursday. Nothing really to report. The bathroom is nearly tiled. The tiles are almost everywhere, so probably 2 more days of that. And Dominica ordered seeds today. We decided we're going to do a garden, just because we don't know how long things are going to be a problem, and why not have some fresh food? Because people we know who have gardens have food. So hey, yeah, no reason not to, right? It's a good time to do house projects and stuff like that. So why not? We don't think it's going to be really important, or we'll even produce food in a time that, within a time frame that really matters. But it's just a great time to take advantage of the good weather and being at home, and a project to get the kids out and doing gardening, which is something they're interested in. So starting that probably this weekend. That's about it. I will talk to everyone tomorrow.